If you're like me, you picked up the Diorama Mandalore set pretty much just for that Darth Maul minifigure, so I decided to import it into Studio and make it into a Diorama Collection style set. If you want to do this yourself, I put a link to the instructions in the description. They are free, but be warned, these instructions are kind of terrible, but I'll get into why in a little bit. On top of the price of the set, which you can probably get below retail at this point, especially if you live in America, the extra pieces cost me around €38. The pick-a-brick pieces took around 3.5 weeks to arrive, and it took me about an hour and a half to put it together. Speaking of putting it together, let's talk about the build experience. It was pretty frustrating for me, all things considered, so I'll give you a few pieces of advice just in case you want to try this for yourself. Firstly, you should definitely disassemble the set fully before starting this build. There's a handful of pieces that are moved from under the throne, and believe me, it's just easier to disassemble even if it feels like a complete waste of time. Secondly, the instructions I made doesn't include applying stickers, so be aware that this piece on step 117 needs a sticker, and these two orange pieces on steps 128 and 129 also need stickers. Thirdly, underneath the steps leading up to the throne, you need to fill in that cavity, otherwise the top layer of the steps are a huge pain to push together. For mine, I just filled this area with studs I had spare from the LEGO art set, but anything works since this won't be visible from the outside. This was pretty tedious and definitely could have been designed better, so definitely an area to improve. Fourthly, the instructions don't highlight the transparent pieces that well on steps 134 and 135. You gotta look fairly carefully to see where the pieces are actually supposed to be put. This picture gives you a better idea of what you should do. And finally, only really relevant to me, was that I was missing quite a few pieces from my order, which I must have forgotten to add. On that note, I forgot to order the plaque part, and it doesn't have a quote tile, so that's pretty annoying. But now let's talk about the design, because there's a few things I want to mention. Firstly, here it is alongside the other 3 Diorama Collection sets. I'm pretty disappointed with how it looks alongside them, if I'm honest. I think it looked better as a render or as a standalone. It kind of feels like there isn't much detail or texture going on compared to the official models, which is a shame. I am pretty proud of the floor detailing around the base though. I wanted a mixture of studded areas and tiled off areas, so I used a load of those 2x2 half plates and decided to create these kind of smooth paths, which I quite like the final look of. I didn't change the throne itself that much because I wanted to keep it as just an upgraded version of the Diorama Mandalore set, as opposed to an entirely new mock. Plus, I think LEGO's throne design was pretty good, and I didn't feel overly compelled to change it. And I like how I extended the windows and the wall behind it. I think it matches the reference image I was using and blends in really well with the official version of the set. So, overall then, was it worth it? I think so. I had a lot of fun learning how to put together instructions using Studio, even though the final PDF is awful. I learned a lot in the process, and it's at least readable and usable as a guideline. Also, just the designing process was really fun. So yeah, I don't know if I'll keep the final model built or disassemble it for a future mock later. I'm honestly more proud of the render than I am the final build, but it was definitely still a worthwhile journey and learning experience, for me anyway. Thanks for watching, I hope this helped you somehow. Apologies in advance for any hair loss caused by the frustration of trying to do this yourself. Farewell.